Hi everyone. I thought it felt right today to talk a little bit about trusting our intuition and what we know to be true for ourselves deep within. I think one of the things that I hear most often as a reader or a healer working with other people is that the messages that came through for them confirmed something that they already knew about themselves, or about a situation, or a feeling that they had about something. And I've found this over the years to be affirming as a reader, of course, but also really fascinating about us as humans and how little we trust the intuitive voice or knowing or understanding within ourselves. And there comes a time when we have to step into trusting that intuition, or continuing to feel lost, unhappy, afraid, scared, miserable on our journeys. And those emotions, those feelings are not something to be avoided on our path. Instead, those are signals to us, they are calls to us that it's time for there to be growth, to be change, to be a deeper experience, or a new experience, a new level of experience for us in our life. So much of my understanding in the work that I do is that as souls, we come into these human experiences to expand and grow and to have a deeper, more profound understanding. And so when we block off growth, we slow down that journey for ourselves in very real ways. And of course, from a divine perspective, slowing it down isn't wrong either. It's just taking the long path up the mountain instead of the short one, right? And this calls to mind for me in tarot the Hermit card and the archetype and element of the Hermit and working with that energy, and what that means for us when we decide to go within and to not look outside of ourselves for affirmation or understanding. Now, of course, I am not saying, don't have a session if you feel called to have a session with whoever that you're drawn to, or, don't get help in the avenues or areas you feel you need assistance. But to start to really trust the messages that are within us, the understanding that is within us, is something that so many of us struggle with, and yet it's so simple in thought, in concept, that understanding is within us. And it's really about tuning in. And I think what I've really felt lately too is being unapologetic about what that tuning in may say to you. Whether that understanding, that core feeling within is that maybe a relationship needs to come to an end, or a career needs to reach its natural end or conclusion, or we need to change something in our life, or we need to change the way that we are choosing to think about or what we believe about ourselves. All of these things, the intuition, the inner knowing, is calling us to those understandings if we can get still enough to hear it, and then if we can honor that intuition and understanding as well. And this is something that I also have found over the years working with clients too, is that usually when we most need to hear that voice, and certainly I do this myself too, that tends to be the time when we get the most busiest and we choose to be the most frenetic, so that we can overwhelm the inner knowing with exhaustion of the physical body, or a level of stress that allows us to shut down so we don't have to feel what we know to be true. And this is the time as a healer when I would encourage us most to understand that's what we're doing, and then give ourselves an opportunity to stop, to sit, to tune into what it is that we know. And even if in this moment of tuning in, we know that we're not yet at a place to act on that, trusting that we will be able to act on that when the time is right for us, will help us in the expansion we've come here to explore as humans, and not shutting down and living in a way that feels inauthentic and perhaps almost zombie-like. I've been, sitting with this a lot, working on various things, various blogs for the website, which has really been this fascinating healing experience for me as a writer, and having a lot of blocks with sharing what I write. That experience has been very healing, but there's an understanding of or an awareness that I've had through working with clients, especially over the last few years, that this zombie-like experience of going through the motions but being deeply unfulfilled and lost and sad inside, completely closed off, is something that a lot of people are experiencing. And if you find that this is coming up for you, again, I'll take it back to tarot because that's the root of this channel and how many of you find the channel. When we connect with the archetype of the Hermit, it's about getting still and quiet enough within to be honest with ourselves about what isn't working. From that, we move into a space of action, but we have to be in the stillness long enough to have an understanding of what our truth is about something, or many things if that's the case for us. It really is that simple, and I think a lot of times we want to overcomplicate these things, and we would like a formula, or we want to be connected to so many different things so that we never have to stop, but instead can buy something or be on social media or do whatever in order to find a way through something. And yet it really is the simple, I'll use the word prescription, of sitting with ourselves in silence, honoring our truth, getting to know ourselves, offering ourselves love, that assist us in really stepping out of an energy of inauthenticity or a feeling of being a zombie, or just finding no fulfillment, no understanding of why we're doing the things that we're doing. It really is about checking in with here, getting to know here, getting to know the language of this being, and then taking action from a place of understanding that growth and expansion is our ultimate goal as a soul. If goal is even the right word, and simply being, we are expanding, but it's a moving with that energy instead of striving to cut it off. That allows for a full life and a true depth and breadth of awareness in this human experience. And we can work with archetypes to come to that place, and that's really awesome and yummy and fun for people like me who find so much fulfillment and joy in connecting with the many faces of the divine, or aspects of the hero's journey, to understand where we might be in any given point in time in the roadmap of our life. And all of those things are aspects of ourselves. And how beautiful is it to really feel into the power that that gives us to just be fully open to whatever it is we're experiencing, understanding and trusting that we will be guided to make the next best steps for our journey if we can be still enough with ourselves long enough to understand what that is. And that that journey can take its own pace for us. It's not determined by anyone else or previous lives or ideas we might have about what it means to be spiritual or human or an alien or whatever it is that calls to us as an aspect of ourself. So while I was just enjoying the sunshine on this beautiful November day, it's always so rainy in New England in November, so when you get a day of sun, it's like you have to just stop what you're doing and sit and soak it in and just be with it for at least a few moments. And the Hermit has been on my mind a lot lately. So it felt appropriate to talk a little bit about that energy today, the energy of stillness and solitude. I do have a new blog post up on the website if you want to check that out. I will put it in the link below. And I hope you are all doing well. I will, as always, see you in the next video. Much love and many blessings, my dears.